All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions. We're going to be starting a special Saturday night's main event series slash the main event. We're going to be releasing these on Saturday nights, and we're going to start with the first one. And I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank, and let's get into what started to be for a child. This was very awesome on Saturday nights back in the day, especially at 11 or 11:30 at night when
Yeah,
they started airing them.
yeah, this was a big deal because there was back then there was no Monday Night Raw, there was no SmackDown, so you never really got to see a lot of the jobbers fight like the main event guys. But other than like I guess primetime wrestling, you didn't, and that was on cable.
Yeah,
On national TV, you really didn't get to see any big matches for the most part. You would only see Jobber versus Big Guy versus
yeah.
Superstar.
If you got lucky, maybe on a Superstars, you got a one-on-one
Yeah,
match,
sometimes, yeah,
but
but not
otherwise, it was just dominance after dominance, and that was pretty much it.
right, right. So this was a big deal, and it was on national TV. This wasn't
Hmm.
syndication. This was regular national TV on NBC. And NBC was trying to get their ratings up, and so what they would do was they had Saturday nights live, and so when they would have during I guess the hour that they would have normally have reruns when they wouldn't have a new episode, sometimes they would fill it in with Saturday night's main event, which is
Yeah,
obviously brand new original programming. I don't know. The main event is the only one that goes live, I believe, right? Because the main event was earlier on a Friday. Saturday night's main event was taped.
yeah. It was like a day
Because
before.
yeah, because it was late. Because it was late at night. It was like 11:30
Yeah,
at night. And the first one is right after WrestleMania, I believe. I think it's
yeah. This
immediately.
was May 11th, 1985.
Yeah,
So it was
so it's
like a
fairly.
month or two after.
Hmm.
So, and this was at the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island. You know, Vince is famous for the New York area.
Yep.
Capacity crowd for this one. I mean, they sold this sucker out, and it wasn't a bad card for the inaugural um, Saturday night's main event. You know, they never really had too many matches. Usually, it was anywhere between 3 and 5.
Hmm.
Usually, you know, kind of like an NXT card, if you want to call it that. It was a small one, and like I said, for me, this was awesome because I used to sneak up, stay up late at night, stick a towel under my door so my parents couldn't see the light,
Yeah.
put the volume down low, and I would watch the Saturdays main
Yeah.
events because you were definitely in for a treat.
Yeah. The first, some of the early ones I didn't get to see because I was super young. So this is 85. This one,
Yeah,
right? I was
yeah,
only 4 years old, so that was like way too late for me. But like a couple years later, I stayed up, or my brother would wake me up. I have an older brother who's about 7 years older than me. He would wake me up and be like, "Oh, it's starting now! It's starting now!" And I would stumble out as my mom was sleeping to uh to watch them.
thanks for making me feel a little older there, Chief.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right.
I was about, what was I here? 6.5. Not too much
Yeah, yeah,
older.
yeah. So
In any event, the opening contest for the inaugural Saturday night main event was a six-man tag team bout, which was actually pretty good to an extent. It was Barry Windham, Mike Rotundo, and Ricky Steamboat with Captain Lou Albano in their corner against the WWE Tag Team Champions Iron Sheik,
yeah,
Nikolai Volkov,
and Nikolai Volkov.
and George the Animal Steel.
Yeah,
That dude's a character.
just a little note about Saturday night's main event, and it kind of sucks watching it on the network now. It's not anybody's fault. Like it's not Peacock's fault. It's nobody's fault. But some of these songs have copyright issues.
Yeah, so they
So
changed
like
it.
so like the opening of Saturday night's main event is not the original song. It's the song that they used later on down the road. So they don't use that. And then even with these guys with Steamboat and who does Steamboat? I'm sorry, who did he team up with again?
Wyndham and Rotundo.
Wyndham and Rotunda.
U.S. Express.
The U.S. Express. Okay, they came out, I believe, in the original broadcast. They came out with "Born in the USA."
Yes.
Was the song that they used? Just like Hogan later on, Hogan came out with "Eye of the Tiger." That was his original song, was "Eye of the Tiger," but because of copyright reasons, they can't show that now. So they
Yeah.
dub over "Real American." That's why you can hear the crowd is like, it's kind of like a fake crowd, and you hear the music.
Oh yeah, you can notice that in a lot of people, like Rick
Yeah,
Rude. They did it with him.
because of the
At SummerSlam
song.
90, you
Yeah,
can hear them change it
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
you can go on Google right now and you can search his original theme
Hmm.
and you'll hear it. But on there, yeah, they changed it.
They have to change. Yeah, just it is what it is. But I just figure I
It
mention it,
happens.
because
in case you're watching it and you realize you hear a muffled crowd,
right? It's because of
the music is louder than it normally would be back then, right? Because not too many wrestlers back then had entrance themes. It was just starting. So this match here was okay. I don't understand. There was zero offense from the tag team champions and George the Animal Steel.
No,
zero.
Did you notice George the Animal Steel looked like he was about to have an asthma attack, and he didn't even do anything, and he was sweating profusely. It looked like he was gonna have an asthma attack. He didn't do anything.
I mean, this guy had a few years left in his career. I mean, he was really winding down. He was up there,
and he was a heel. He's a heel at this point.
He was a great heel. Better than he was a fan favorite. He becomes a fan favorite here.
Right.
Because at the end of the match, Wyndham, Rotundo, Steamboat get the victory. Volkov and Sheik actually turn on George the Animal Steel, and Albano, who used to be his former manager, kind of like takes him back under his wing. And what's funny is if you look at Iron Sheik in this is where he starts his 6-pack abs become a 24-pack. Like he's muscular up here, and he's starting to get that belly down here, and he's trying to show you that I'm in shape. You're really not. And Volkov, well, he just always looked like pudding. Yeah. He also always looked like he was 60 years old.
Should be of note. There's Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon were the commentators, and they were always great. Those two were always great together.
Yeah, except Vince even back then. 1, 2, he got him. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that bothered me about Vince McMahon's commentating was that. Otherwise, two of them were good together.
Yeah, especially Jesse. Like I said in the past,
Jesse's the man.
Jesse's the man, no question.
Oh, definitely. So, in any event, the U.S. Express and Steamboat get the victory, and I liked Steamboat here. He was a good young athlete here. He showed a lot of poise in the ring, and Rotundo and Wyndham were always good, together.
Yeah, I think he's still Ricky. So at this point, he's still Ricky Steamboat. A little bit
the Dragon yet.
A little bit later, he becomes Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and then not to get too sidetracked, when he returns in the early '90s, he's just
the Dragon.
The Dragon.
That was stupid.
Well, whatever.
We all knew who he was. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So the next segment after this was, and I actually laughed at this. I really like, was the Piper's Pit.
Yes. With Paul Orndorff.
Yes, and they're like, you suck. You soft. You blew it at WrestleMania.
He cost them the match.
And you got Bob Orton sitting back there with the cast.
But you know what? They couldn't figure out what the hell to do with Orndorff because he's a heel, then he's a babyface. Then he's a heel again. He becomes a babyface again, does he? Before he leaves? I can't remember.
No,
he just goes to WCW, right?
WCW and actually has a better career there.
Okay,
in the tag team division.
Yeah. So.
And in the singles competition more than he did here. Yeah, he would. I'm going to feud with Hogan. Now I'm going to team with Hogan. Now I'm going to turn on Hogan again.
Right.
Yeah, and the guy had the look.
He did.
Not too good on the microphone.
Yeah, but
the guy had the look. And this was actually. I could, if this was a Monday Night Raw, this segment would have turned into a tag team match rather than a WWE title match.
Right.
And luckily it didn't because I didn't want to see that. But you could see where the feud was still building up between the two. The segment was great, how they started it. And then that led into the WWE title match where it was Hulk Hogan versus Cowboy Bob Orton, Randy Orton's father. And I was actually shocked that he was the contender for it and not Piper, but I mean Orton was still a good wrestler in himself. And the match ended. Hogan gets this is where they screwed up. I don't know if you saw this. Hogan drops the leg and pins Orton. Piper hits Hogan. Now the referee.
Well, we didn't even mention Mr. T and Hulk Hogan were together. Mr. T was in Hogan's corner.
Yeah, there's a reason why I did. I don't want to. It's Mr. T. I'm sorry, I've said it before. The guy was handed everything. He just didn't want to do the work.
He was an actor, man. He was an actor.
He was a better actor than he was a wrestler.
Yeah, he wasn't a wrestler.
He shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been on the first 2 WrestleManias. But in any event,
but they would. You know why they did that? They were doing crossover with Hollywood, get mainstream attention. So it worked. It sucked, but it worked.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, he was in Hogan's corner where Piper was in Orton's. Now Piper hits Hogan. Hogan gets off the count. Referee never saw it. Hogan goes and tells the people at ringside that all of a sudden the guy who looks fossilized just goes, ring the bell.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, wait a minute, where's the referee's decision?
And you know what's weird too? Hogan hulks up. Hogan
Yeah.
hulks up and then he doesn't do the leg drop though.
No, he didn't do the big boot.
Right, leading into the leg
Yeah,
drop.
lead it to the leg drop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think this was all starting for him.
Yeah, probably. This is very early. It is very early Hulkamania and him getting his stuff together because if you
This is
notice
before
too,
him burying people.
right? But if you notice too, he still had the white headband.
Mm-hmm.
He had the yellow trunks, but he still had the white headband because he used to wear white before that with the white American made T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, this was all in his transition.
And you could tell, let me tell you something. You could tell that Piper does not like Mr. T because he no-sells him. Mr. T runs to help and starts throwing body shots, and Piper's just taking them like nothing.
Yeah.
Completely no-sells it.
Telling you, man.
Yeah, so.
But, I thought that was funny with the referee. Referee is oblivious to the whole thing. Got a bunch of analysts and panelists down there doing whatever, and all of a sudden, okay.
Ring the bell, yeah.
And we got a disqualification. And my son's like, what the hell is this? I said, this is how it was back then, especially with house shows. A lot of DQs, countouts, and time limit draws, so these guys would still save face. Unfortunately, you didn't have a lot of pin counts, 3 counts back then. I mean, that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
So, in any event, Hogan's still the champion. We're just going to keep saying that through every Saturday Night Main Event until 1988. The next match after that was for the WWE Women's Championship. It was Wendy Richter defending it against the Fabulous Moolah. Now, they barred Cyndi Lauper at this point from ringside, which I didn't even know why after WrestleMania she was still around.
But again, it was just more.
But again, it was music,
cross promotion.
and Hollywood. Yeah,
remember they were doing the whole rock and roll crossover. They were on MTV.
Yeah.
It worked for them because they got a lot of mainstream attention they normally wouldn't have gotten. So true. I know it's kind of sucky.
It's just every time she talked, it's like
you gotta do this and you gotta remember.
Can somebody teach her how to talk on the microphone?
Oh Lord,
as a superstar, not as a musician. Because even the segment later on, I'm listening to her go back and forth with the banter with Moolah, and I'm like, oh my God, this is boring.
It's the 80s, man. It's the 80s.
Yeah, and it's 62-year-old Fabulous Moolah, who was dethroned not too long before this after a 28-year reign, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought that was a joke when they said that. Because, back in the 60s and 70s when she held it for so long, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And it was just, that's a record you'll never, ever see again.
No.
I hope not. But at 62 years old, she's getting in the ring. And she wasn't bad in the ring still. She still had the skills, per se. And Wendy Richter is an average wrestler at that. I mean, I'm not going to give her too much hype. But Wendy Richter keeps the title. She wins over the Fabulous Moolah. This obviously will change down the road, leading to WrestleMania 2. I'm not going to get into that. But it was an average. It was a decent match for the inaugural Saturday night. The main event kind of stunned me. But then again, like I said, Saturday night main event, there was no one match that was labeled the main event. It was always a mixture. It was always a variety. So anybody could be the main event of it. And in this case, it was Junkyard Dog versus, what was it? It was Prince of Dorchester or whatever you want to call this jobber, Pete Doherty. And this was a dominant jobber match. Junkyard Dog had his mom at ringside because Mother's Day was approaching. And he just totally whooped Doherty. And he got the victory. It probably was under like 5 minutes. I don't even know what the time count was on it. So JYD gets the victory. And that closes out the match card for Saturday Night Main Event. And then they went to a Mother's Day celebration in the back. And Sheik and Volkov are there. And nobody knows what the hell they're saying. I mean,
they're like all the way at the end.
Yeah, Hogan's standing right behind them.
Hogan's there.
That's the best part. Yeah, JYD and his mom there. They're all standing there. Freddie Blassie's there. Then you got Moolah, Lauper, Richter, Lauper's mom. I guess that was, or was that Ricky's mom? I don't even. It was somebody's mom.
Hogan's mother was there. I don't even know if that's really Hogan's mother though. That was some actress. I have no idea.
I don't know. I mean, they were trying to get through that line, and then all of a sudden they got a cake. Which now you see the cake, you know what's going to happen. And Lauper and Moolah are going back at it. And I mean, the banter in between them was just cheesy. But whatever. It was funny when Okerlund and Moolah went in the cake, and that pretty much closed out the first Saturday Night Main Event. So I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
bad for the inaugural.
Nah, it was okay. It was the first one. They were just getting started, at the end was a little silly, but they were also trying to do entertainment also,
Yeah.
so it's overall I thought it was okay. Obviously it's not one of the most memorable
No,
ones.
not. We'll get into some of those.
Yeah, but it was decent for what it was, and back then it was a big deal, So all right, that's the first episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. I hope you guys enjoyed the Saturday Night's Main Event series, especially people that grew up watching it. You people who didn't grow up watching it probably don't realize like this was actually a big deal. Like Saturday Night's Main Event was a big deal back in the days. It's like I
Yes,
said,
it was.
there was
And
no Raw, there was no SmackDown.
the next one was actually 5 months then from now. October 5th, 1985 is the next one because they
Mm.
didn't do them. They did them sporadically
Right,
over the course of the year.
yeah, every few months.
Yeah.
And this one actually did a good rating, and the ratings were always pretty consistent up through the early 90s.
Mhm.
So you guys let us know what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.
Take care.